billion of us see that rock in 8 billion different ways. Very minute, very small differences, so much so that it's not even worth pointing out. And that's why we can agree on what the world is to some degree, and that's why in some cases we cannot agree on things that we can even observe with our own eyes. Okay, hello guys, welcome back to another video. So in this video, just to get this batch of videos started, I want to be discussing a shower thought as usual. So today's shower thought is, okay, in my life I've heard many stories of people who have died and then been brought back to life, and every time those people who have seen the other side, well, yeah, they all have different stories about what they saw, what they experienced while they were, should we call it unconscious? Because while their consciousness was absent from this realm, they all have different stories. There's even someone in my family, I haven't talked about this with him, whether I can disclose this publicly, or her. I haven't talked about this with him or her, whether I can disclose this publicly. But, you know, this person also saw something while they had it's not even a near-death experience. You did die, right? Like your pulse went silent, all brain activity stopped, and you yourself, your spirit, your mind, whatever you want to call it, experienced something that was akin to something as transcendence. So all these people have different stories. Some people say they were guided to a village. Some people say that they saw, you know, shapes and different types of polygons. Some people say that they saw animals, you know. I forgot these examples, but it got me thinking, the fact that all these people have such vastly different stories, it got me thinking about this. So what if there really is another side? There really is the other side of, you know, the transcendent realm, the afterlife, essentially. But just like the world that we live in, it only makes itself interpretable to the individual who is experiencing it as they are experiencing it. So say I think I've heard this argument somewhere in my philosophy textbooks, I forgot where, but essentially the world, like the world that we live in, isn't as we see it. It is presenting itself differently to each individual person, but there is enough congruence in the way that it's presenting itself to each of us that we can all agree on what certain things are. So for example, all 8 billion of us all see the same object and say it's a rock, but all 8 billion of us see that rock in 8 billion different ways. And there are very minute, microscopic, there are very small differences, so much so that it's not even worth pointing out. And that's why we can agree on what the world is to some degree, and that's why in some cases we cannot agree on things that we can even observe with our own eyes. Shit, I should have scripted this video. I probably have some examples ready, but damn. Let me try and think of some right now. Okay, it took 2 hours to think of that example. My shirt is even sweaty. But okay, who's ever seen that challenge? I saw it on Facebook, where there's that dress that is either purple or white or blue, and then there were millions of comments on that post with people who just could not agree, even though it was the same picture. That was just one example of, you know, close congruence, but far enough that we can still disagree on one aspect of it. Like for example, people weren't disagreeing about the dress's size or about the dress's design, because that was congruent. That's the way it made itself similarly interpretable to all of us, the dress. But the one way that the dress made itself differentially interpretable to all of us was in its color, in the fact that some of us saw it as blue, some of us saw it as a light shade of purple, some of us saw it as white. That was one example of it. So since we can't even agree on what is in this realm, What if it's the same in the other side as well? What if, depending on your personality, whenever you die, the thing that you experience in the other world, now that I think about it, it sounds pretty lonely. But, or maybe it's filled with people just like you, who knows, like who have enough close congruences with your personality. But though, you transcend into this realm where perhaps you were in love with coding and computers, then you transcend into this realm that is like all digital and kind of like the Matrix or whatever. That's just my own example. Again, this isn't a religious theory. It's just, we're just kicking ideas. Like, yeah, it's fun to talk about this stuff. But what if that's, you go into something that resembles your personality? If you're a musical person who likes instruments, then you transcend into a realm that is very musical and, very instrumental and whatever. And of course, it might be the same with purgatory as well. Maybe purgatory is differentially interpretable to all of us as well. Maybe purgatory is also specific to your personality. If you are someone who fears or hates or has a deep disdain for animals, then your purgatory will be something concerning wildlife and animals, and when you having to go through that for all of eternity or after you die. But you notice in this whole argument, I'm not disqualifying the fact that there is an afterlife. All I'm asking is, what if it's just different for each person? And another thing that I posed is, what if the differences, even in the afterlife, have close enough congruences that you're not just alone in there? You are with largely people who are, most like yourself, who to them that would also be like divine paradise, whatever you want to call it. So that's it for opening today's batch of videos. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Cheers. And just to add another point to that video, we all have layers of our identity. You are a son, you are a student, you are warrior, you are a boyfriend or husband, you are a mentor, all these things. These are all like the way our identity is spliced. These are the different roles that we play in our life, right? So another thing I wanted to add into that is just another point. What if for you the afterlife is a world that is perfectly aligned with the first layer of your identity? So if your first layer of your identity is being that of a warrior or a combatant or a soldier, then your afterlife would probably be Valhalla, a place filled with warrior and eternal war where you can just have endless fun, because fighting is fun, right? Or if you're a Christian, then you do go into the Christian heaven as it is described, along with people who the first layer of their identity is that of a Christian, right? If you are a student and you love a particular thing, and that is the first layer of your identity, then you transcend into, you get where I'm going with this, right? Yeah, I just wanted to add that point. Again, we're just kicking theories, right? If you have one of your own or something to add to this one, drop it down in the comments below. Oh, like, comment, subscribe. See you in the next video.